everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for your weekly wrap-up. I am literally burning the midnight oil here. It's been a very busy week here on the channel, and will continue to be because all the cool stuff for the holidays is coming out, and I'm trying to grab it all and review it as soon as I can, so it's keeping me busy. We did look at a lot of stuff this week, and we had the new Fire 7 tablet from Amazon that's only $50, a really good value. Actually a nicely constructed tablet for the money. It is running Amazon's version of Android, so all the Google Play stuff is not going to work on here without a lot of effort. But if you're in the market for a cheap tablet, this is probably the best cheap tablet I've looked at, especially given it's only 50 bucks. So good value, nice display, certainly worth looking at. I accidentally deleted this video though while I was recording my Chromecast review. So if you have watched it, just do me a favor and just watch it again, at least halfway through, because I think I lost a lot of search position because I had almost 4,000 or 5,000 views on it when I deleted it. And you can check out a video also in the playlist where I describe exactly what happened when that was deleted. But that said, the Chromecast is a pretty cool little device. It has been. The new one is just as good. It's a little bit faster in its wireless speed. They've added AC wireless, and they've been tweaking the apps and stuff. So it's really been a nice improving product over the last year or two. And this new one is really nice. You can check out my review. Not a lot has changed though beyond the wireless speed from the old one. So if you have the old one and you're happy with it, the new one is not going to give you much more, but check out the review anyhow. It's a cool looking product, and I think it's a really nice implementation of a set-top streaming box. So really good stuff there. We also took a look at a new feature on the WD My Clouds now that finally will automatically back up your photos from your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android. You can automatically shoot your photos to your personal cloud. We'll be looking at a few other My Cloud features. They have a new operating system that just rolled out, and we'll be checking those out hopefully this week too. I also went to New York City. Nothing stops here on the channel. I'm always on the move. We went to an event sponsored by Pepcom where they bring a bunch of brands into one room, and I've got 3 hours to go talk to as many as I can. It's kind of like a shopping spree without the shopping. So I talked to a bunch of brands, and I kind of wrapped them up into a little narrative, which I think might be more efficient than uploading like 35 interview videos. So I'm going to stick to that format for some things that I find that are rather interesting, but for other stuff that doesn't require an interview, I'm going to do some B-roll and give you my narrative on it. I may try that for CES coming up this year too, so we'll see. It might be less work for me, and I think actually might be more valuable to the viewers. So there's certain things that I know are going to get watched, which I'll do separately, but this kind of stuff, it just kind of wraps it up, and I'd love for your feedback on it to let me know what you thought of that. Now, some of the more interesting stuff, though, was the TiVo Bolt, which was announced at that show. It's a new version of TiVo that integrates set-top box features, so you now get Netflix and a bunch of other video services on it, in addition to a commercial skip button that you can push and skip through commercials, so that's good unless you're watching this channel, which I hope you always watch my YouTube ads when you tune in. We also took a look at the Aero Garden, which is essentially like an automated garden for your home. The plants or the herbs and the vegetables come in these little pods, kind of like a coffee pod. They grow hydroponically, and you put them in and just follow the directions on the device. It tells you when to add water, when to feed the plants, when to turn the light on and off. You can't mess it up, they say. So check that out. Pretty neat little interview there. And we took a look at a new photo frame called the Nix Play, which I think is finally like the photo frame I've been looking for less tech-savvy family members. It has a cloud service. You just dump your photos into it. You can even email photos to the frame, and it just shows up on grandma's frame automatically. And I think we're going to have some of these going around the family around holiday time, because it's really a nicely designed product, at least from what I saw at the show. And it's got the cord for it that goes into the wall actually acts as a stand too. So they've integrated a stand into the plug. It's pretty neat. So check it out. Neat interview there. I wanted to cover some news though this week because two things people have been asking me a lot about. The first was the Nvidia Shield firmware update that just got pushed down. As you know, I'm a big fan of this set-top box. I think it's the best one out there. One of the things that was lacking though was 24p playback, and especially 23.976 frames per second playback, which they have now implemented, and that's important for home theater enthusiasts who don't want the jitter while they're watching some 24p movies, maybe that they've taken off Blu-ray discs or something like that. So that is now built in. It does work. There are some glitches still, so I'm not ready to review it just yet, but that's working. They also added support for higher-end lossless audio formats like DTS HD and Dolby True HD, and that was a big thing. Unfortunately, there's no app that actually supports those audio formats, so although the hardware software now supports it. There aren't any apps that work with that just yet, including Kodi. I guess Kodi on the Android platform doesn't yet support those audio formats. So although it's there and working, you can't actually use it. So hopefully we'll find some updates on Kodi or something soon so that I can actually demonstrate it. But the reason why I haven't covered that firmware update is for that reason. I just can't get it to work with anything that I have here just yet. I always like to show things working versus not working. So hopefully soon we'll find some Kodi update that will support that, but in the meantime, we'll just kind of sit tight on that. But they also announced their new Grid game streaming service, which was going to be $8 a month, all you can eat, and those are games that you stream over the internet. You can check out my Nvidia Shield reviews where I covered that feature. It works pretty well, actually. And they're also selling games on there, too. So The Witcher 3, that new game that everyone's playing, except me, you can buy that for $60 through their service, stream it live to the device, or you also get a GOG code, good old games code, where you can download it to your PC, too. So you buy it, you can stream it, and you can also download it. Unfortunately, it doesn't sync your save game progress, so that is one little shortfall with it, but you can stream it and own it digitally, at least through GOG. So that is something to keep an eye out for. I also wanted to do a quick update on the HDHomerun, because I get people emailing me just about every day now asking about when we'll have another preview of it or where the project is at. The team actually just sent out a Kickstarter email to their backers explaining where things are at in the software development process. So they are a little bit behind schedule. In the email, they indicated they're about 8 weeks behind where they'd like to be. And it's not that they're not working on it, it's just that this is the nature of software development, especially when you're trying to build something as robust and complex as a DVR application from scratch on multiple platforms. This is the kind of stuff that happens. And if anyone's ever developed a game or any other kind of application that's cross-platform, obviously this is something you're very much experienced with. You can look at the Batman Arkham Knight game as a good example of some of the pitfalls of releasing things too early before they've had time to really vet and test it out. So what they are going to do, though, is that if you were a $30 backer and didn't get in on that $60 thing where you could get early access to the alpha, you can now pay into that another $30 and get the alpha access if you're really eager to play with it. If you don't want to do that, when they do get to the final version, you will get it a month early ahead of schedule of the regular release. So the same promises apply. It's just that they're going to be a little bit later down the road. And I just want to say too, I know these guys very well. I've been talking to them for a number of years. They discovered me through my initial video that a lot of you have discovered me from. I really feel like they're on the right track here, and it's just going to take some time to get all this done. They're not a huge company. I think that's really important to note here, that they make a very high quality hardware product, but software is a kind of a relatively new thing for them, especially software at this level, and they're trying to get it right. And I'd much rather have them get it right a little bit later than release it early and not have it functioning exactly as we want it to, especially given how rock solid Windows Media Center is for me, or whatever you might be running at home. It's got to be as good as what you're using now, and if it isn't, they're not going to have a very successful product. So I think, from my standpoint, I'm being very patient about it. I've got something that works for me right now, and I'm very eager to get everything over to the HDHomerun DVR, but they want to make sure it's going to be perfect and ready. If you do want to keep up with the project, they have some forums, which is probably a better place to interact with the team as well as other HDHomerun users. I'll put a link below in the description so you can check that out, because Kickstarter may not be the best place to have those conversations, just given how the comment threading works on that. So be sure to check out the forums and hang tight. I think we're going to have a good product when it is done, and I really mean that. I really trust these guys a lot and know them quite well now, after all these years of going back and forth and talking about their products. So stay tuned. We'll have something to show there very shortly. This week, we've got a bunch of stuff always coming up. I got the new Amazon Fire TV right here. In fact, oops, I just dropped something. That is going to be the next video after this one tonight, so be sure to look out for that. I really wasn't all that crazy about it, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's just, it's kind of like last year's, but with 4K, maybe. It's just not the best set-top box out there, especially given what we've got on the Android TV side now. A lot more choices now than there were when Fire TV first came out a year or so ago. So well, you can see my review and get the full take on it there. I'm also going to look at something really cool. This is the Cerevo Live Wedge. I think they call this the Live Wedge 2. And this is a streaming box that will stream out to YouTube and other RTMP-compatible streaming services, but it's only $299. It does 720p, so it's not a 1080p streaming device, but for a lot of folks, even me here with my 10 megabits upload speed here, I can't really do too well at 1080p, but 720p 720p is the sweet spot. And what's nice is that you can plug in your game console or whatever into this thing, your video switcher if you want, your computer, and you can stream through this without having to have a computer be the streaming device. So if you have you're playing games in your computer and you want to stream out from that, you can buy this for $2.99 and stream right to the web without having to have another computer as the intermediary. So a much less expensive way to get access to streaming media. The best equivalent I could see is maybe some of the more expensive Cerevo live wedges from last year, or perhaps the Teradek VidiU. This is a very good price, and we'll put it through its paces and make sure it lives up to that. We're also hopefully going to get to that Kensington dock this week. A lot of cool stuff came in that kind of knocked them out of contention a little bit. It's not that Kensington isn't cool, but some things are going to do better on the channel than others, and I really have to prioritize. So hopefully we'll get to that Kensington dock this week also that I talked about last week. I've also got two videos I want to do on the WD MyCloud. That's going to round out the last of these sponsored videos that WD has commissioned me to do. We're going to talk about new features of the new WD MyCloud OS. They now have a Dropbox-like feature that works very much like Dropbox and is very configurable. It actually is a very nice improvement for the device, and it even works on the single drive unit. I know a lot of new features don't tend to work on the single drive unit. This Dropbox feature does. They also have another feature we'll be looking at this week related to web interfacing. They've actually made a really nice web interface. Again, it works with the single drive unit. Very easy now to create links and send them to people without having to give them a log on to your drive and everything else. So it almost functions kind of like Google Drive or Dropbox does in that regard, in that you can give people web links that brings them to your drive, but for specific files, and it really works quite nicely. And you can also access your MyCloud drive via a web browser if you don't have one of the apps loaded. So really nice improvements. We'll be checking those out as part of our sponsored series. And if you want to help the channel, you can go to Lon.TV/Patreon and make a monthly contribution to the channel. We also have YouTube fan funding set up at Lon.TV, where you can leave me a single contribution if you so choose. I'm also going to be changing my end credit thing to start listing Patreon and fan funding supporters. I'll be changing that graphic every month so you can see who has been helping the channel. I really feel like I want to do more to acknowledge people, especially that are long-term Patreon contributors. So that's going to do it for this week. If you want to engage with the channel, you can go to Lon.TV/email to send me get on my email list. You can also email me at lon@lon.tv if you ever choose to do so. You can also visit my Facebook page at Lon.TV/Facebook, and we've got the forums at Lon.TV/forums too. So lots going on the channel. I'm going to go edit and go to bed, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by the generosity of my Patreon supporters. If you find the channel helpful, you too can contribute for as little as $1 a month. Visit Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more.